It's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hi, villains, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. Still not back in my podcasting boudoir yet, but very soon, I hope. I need to be back there soon. I feel like I'm really freeloading where I am at the moment. But I just said we wanted to pop on. It's been a pretty. Also, just before anyone asks, the grunting is not me. It's not Paddy. It's this little guy here beside me. So if anybody hears any grunting, that's you can be rest assured that it's neither of the two of us.
I cannot guarantee that I won't grunt later on.
Well, you might grunt when we start talking about one of the topics that's on that's on the menu today, a certain Ivan Toney. But what we wanted to jump on today, what I wanted to jump on today, because I just think it's been a day whereby there's been an awful lot of it's just been an awful lot of news that was directly and indirectly involving Aston Villa, and I thought that it was worth discussing it. Obviously, you know, the backroom or the sports administration, the management structure. There's been a lot of stuff broken today or come out today with regards to both Chris Heck, who we want to welcome aboard, and we're going to speak about him in a moment, and also Matthew Alemany, who you guys know we've done a lot on. And I think it would be remiss if we didn't discuss that as well, because as I say, it's quite a big thing. And I suppose, first of all, Paddy, what we're going to do is I think we get into the Chris Heck stuff first, because I'd like to kind of mark that, and that is our I suppose that's the big positive news, I think, for Aston Villa today, that Chris Heck has signed with the club. Who is Chris Heck? Well, I think what we're going to do is I'm just going to share up an article today that was in the Birmingham Mail. We're just going to read down through it as well. Here, I've got some thoughts on Chris Heck too. Myself, from knowing him through NBA and following basketball and stuff like that. But Aston Villa and V Sports have confirmed the appointment of former Philadelphia 76ers president Chris Heck, and Chris Heck will report directly to Aston Villa owners Nassif Swiris and Wes Edens, and has full responsibility for all business and commercial matters. He begins work with immediate effect, and after a successful stint as president of NBA franchise the 76ers. So basically, he graduated from Villanova University and worked through the NBA League office as a senior vice president for marketing partnerships for 7 years. Heck also has previous experience working with football, spending 2 years as president of business operations at MLS side New York Red Bulls. So his experience in football also meant he worked under co-managing partnerships. Our partners Josh Harris and David Blitzer, the investors of Crystal Palace. Alongside his job for the Sixers, he spent a year with City's NHL franchise, the Philadelphia Flyers, while also holding a senior role with the NFL Philadelphia Eagles. Heck also holds a prominent role with the Miami Heat, prominent role with the Miami Heat as well. So I just wanted to kind of bring that up, because like, this guy is no mug that's coming into the club. There's a lot of clubs there. There's a lot of big structures. There's a lot of money making teams there that have been mentioned within the list of franchises, I suppose, if you want to call them, because that's what they are in the United States, that he's been involved with. One that piques my interest is obviously what he's done with the 76ers is there for everyone to see. He's exponentially increased the value of their company, the turnover of the company, the financial and the revenue and the bottom line. The spreadsheets are all looking healthy for that franchise itself. But for me, being an NFL fan, anybody who gets into the bowls of the Philadelphia Eagles is going to learn something from the likes of Howie Roseman and from how that team is run, because that's a fantastically run team. So if we can emulate anything from a scouting point of view or from a business point of view, like has been done at both the 76ers and also at the Philadelphia Eagles, well then, he's going to be a good asset to this club, obviously from a management point of view. Well, Paddy, what I suppose what's your feeling on this? You know, obviously the club is beginning to grow up from the point of view of management, and the club is understanding that the job to bring the money in is too much for just one man, and you're going to need to have a specific entity to be able to run that itself.
Well, I suppose the opening line of the statement is what hit me, is that he's been brought in under the umbrella of V Sports as opposed to being totally involved in Aston Villa. And that's, Dean has asked the question. I don't know whether that's fingers crossed or something in the back there. But no, he's not been brought in to replace Purslow. Purslow ain't going anywhere.
I think Purslow may leave, but I think that Purslow will be replaced if he leaves. If that makes sense, I think this is an addition.
But this isn't a Purslow out move. He's been brought in there to do a specific job across the network, which is constantly growing with obviously Vitoria Guimaraes, ZFC, potentially Las Vegas Villains. So there's a lot under that umbrella that he will eventually have to work with. And as we know, that this thing is evolving as time goes on. So we've just got to wait and see what way this works. But obviously a very positive announcement from the club today, on the back of the second point I'm sure we're going to get into.
Yeah, exactly. And before we do that, here is the actual, just in case anybody has been living under a rock and hasn't read this as well, but V Sports and Aston Villa are delighted to announce the appointment of Chris Heck as the group's new president of business operations. Heck brings over 30 years of sports industry experience to the club, including his most recent role as president of the National Basketball Association franchise, the Philadelphia 76ers. Prior to blah, 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 he goes on then to list off everything there. But Nassif Swira says that we're very excited to have Chris joining us as president of business operations, consistent with our philosophy on the pitch. We have brought in world-class talent off the pitch to help us continue our growth. Chris's arrival will further establish Villa as a global leader in sport and enhance the fans' experience. And then Chris Heck himself went on to say that Villa's storied history and impressive fan base is something I've always admired from my sports career in the US. That sounds a bit like Robbie Keane saying this is my boyhood club to me, to be honest with you. But he says, I look forward to becoming a part of this community and furthering the great legacy of this team and its fans. So Chris Heck will assume his duties effective immediately. So that is the press release with regards to Chris Heck. So another good money man in here. You know, the one thing that NSWE have done is they have strengthened the resolve, I suppose, from a financial point of view. They've been pumping money into this club, and I'm sure that's going to be a talking point we're going to have when we talk about Mr. Anaman in a moment. But they've been pumping money into the club, and now what they're doing is, while I don't think they're going to cut off the supply lines of said money, I think that they're bringing in somebody to help us grow globally, and it's something we've all cried out for. You know, Paddy, we've spoken about it before as well. You know, the likes of to be financially dominant, I suppose, or to be able to sit at the top table from a money point of view, you need to have your earnings, and the earnings come from fan bases and all around the world. And it doesn't mean that there's going to be any less Villa fans that have been there. Our 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th generation Aston Villa fans, going to Villa Park anytime soon. But it is about growing the brand worldwide, getting in better sponsors, getting in better better fan bases around the world, and bringing the actual brand itself, I suppose, to further flung climbs.
Exactly.
Parts of the world.
I know. I'm a big advocate for Villa fans around the world, and he obviously name checks Villa in that statement. And the reason he name checks Villa is, realistically, there won't be a bigger, let's call it a franchise, than Aston Villa in the V Sports network. They're not going to be realistically buying an Inter Milan or a Real Madrid or a Barcelona to fall under that umbrella. I just can't see anybody being bigger than Aston Villa in that network, and that's why that name has been checked in there. But look, I spoke about it after I did the tour of the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and I was surrounded by hundreds upon hundreds of Korean people on their holidays watching Spurs versus Villa. Absolutely incredible. And look, while a lot of people see that as a negative, this is money people want to see in our club. There's a huge chance that Unai Emery brings in a Korean player from Real Mallorca this year, in Kim Jong Lee, is that his name? Can't remember his name. But like, all of these things all lead towards bringing more fans to the club. You know, we look at, even last weekend, looking at the North American Sports Network, that those guys are all meeting up in Seattle. There's hundreds upon hundreds of people linked to Villa all throughout the world, because of guys like those chairs who are all over America, meeting fans, seeing the claret and blue shorts, suddenly becoming Villa fans, and players coming to the club will ultimately do that. And we have to have the network around us, and the advisors, the money men, everybody, to grow it. So you've seen Man City take 15 years from their initial investment to get to where they're probably going to be favourites going into a Champions League final after tonight, I should say. So look, it's only a good thing. Obviously, we're so many years behind. I would love to be so much younger going into these, because I feel like the last 25 years have been kind of lost as a Villa fan, because we haven't got to experience any magic. So hoping that they will reach those heights in the next few years, that I can enjoy it at a relatively young age.
Yeah, I agree with that with that as well. And look, a couple of people mentioned there as well, hoping we don't go down the route of just buying people because they're marketable. I don't see that as a tactic that this club will take. But as I say, but growing the fan base will happen regardless. Not just buying in a token player from X country, Y country, or whatever the case is. But I do think that that Villa will be active, and the Villa will leave no stone unturned. And now let's get on to Mr. Alemany, for two reasons, because I'm getting away with murder here with this guy still being asleep. And second of all, my battery has just jumped from 60% down to 28%. My charger's over there, and I've no way of getting this charged. So I better shut up explaining why. Matthew Alemany, I keep on pronouncing his name incorrectly, but I suppose I don't have to pronounce it.
Well, you won't need to pronounce it again, so it's grand.
Exactly, but so it looks like he's done a U-turn after an agreement in principle was made with Aston Villa to join the club. I don't think it's any secret that he was in conversations with Villa. He was here at Birmingham. A lot has been made of it. So first of all, I'm not going to relitigate everything that's been mentioned today. There's been a lot of stuff that's just come out on the internet today. 99.999% of it has come out from Barcelona, from the Barcelona side, from the side of Barcelona, trumpeting this as a massive win for them, which it absolutely is, because he's a fantastic sports administrator. So let's not just turn around. We're not going to do an about face on that here. Very disappointed he isn't coming to Aston Villa, but I've got feelings on it in a moment. A lot of the stuff that's come out, it's been regurgitated by a lot of Spanish media. I want to say that a lot of the financial stuff that's been quoted, X, Y, and Z in there, came directly from Kieran Maguire. A tweet that Kieran Maguire put out about 3 months ago. I had him on this podcast directly afterwards to explain the tweet, and he said that it's fine. We've got owners that are fine. Doesn't really matter. A lot of the financial stuff there. And it comes directly, and it came directly from a Kieran Maguire tweet from the Price of Football pod. I wanted to, so a lot of people are putting two and two together saying here, oh, Villa are smoke and mirrors. Villa may not have that blank check, and they don't have that blank check that everyone's been talking about. It's never been a thing. We've always been pretty big on that here, the blank check aspect of it. I still think they will sign some good players, but I wanted to spell that came directly from a tweet from Kieran Maguire today. I saw it, and then it was deleted, and then all the rest. So Kieran Maguire's tweet wasn't deleted. A Barcelona, a Spanish news site retweeted that tweet or quote tweeted it, then deleted the tweet, and then released an article directly afterwards based upon that tweet, and didn't reference that tweet within the article. So I just want to say that's what I saw myself today. I saw it happen, and hey, that's my view on it. With regards to Alemany doing a U-turn, Jordi Cruyff has left in the last few days. He left actually yesterday. He decided he's going to leave. Maybe this creates a bigger power vacuum for Alemany to come in to fill, with Deco coming in above him again. So who knows what the structure is there? Maybe he really just believes in his Barcelona project. We've seen Real Madrid, a very aging Real Madrid team there today, who, when you look at their bench, wasn't very strong. Maybe Alemany says, maybe I could really bring Barcelona back to life here, and he wants to stay with them. I don't know. But Paddy, what are your views on it? What are your views on this guy not coming in? Considering we never signed him, we've lost nothing, if you think of it, really, because he wouldn't have been involved in our transfer dealings anyway. So up to now, our transfer plans would have been well in motion for who we wanted to sign. He would have been just an extra negotiator. And I personally don't believe he would have been involved anyway. He would have kept his, not up until the 30th of June, he would have kept his word with Barcelona, because he really feels for that club. So for me, I don't think, we've obviously lost something into the future, but as of this transfer window right now, I don't really see what we've lost.
Well, I lost my trail of thought there when you asked me a question and I kept going. So but
what do you think of what's your view on it?
You can pinch this out and hit me with it later on. But at the end of the day, you're right in that we haven't lost anything. We never had him. Obviously, there was probably talks going on. It was probably happening. But at the end of the day, what have we lost? We've lost a negotiator. We haven't lost an Emi Martinez or an Ollie Watkins or a Douglas Luiz or a Boubacar Kamara. We've lost a negotiator. Something that can be replaced in business very easily. I'm okay with it. I was excited that the news had broke, but I'm absolutely okay with it. So for me now, it was a story that had potential that didn't happen, just like us signing Ramadal Falcao under Martin O'Neill.
I was going to say, Juninho, I put out the David Unsworth tweet earlier on, that he's done an Unsworth on it.
A lot of people saying he came to Birmingham to talk. I don't believe that was the case. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. I wouldn't read too much into that. He may have come to Birmingham to talk about a player, and this has all been a mountain of a molehill. It's fine by me. I'm okay to move on with this one. They've obviously we spoke on text earlier on. This announcement of bringing in Mr. Heck this evening was probably going to be a double announcement, and as a result of that announcement today, they chose to make the announcement that Mr. Heck was coming in. So, look, focus on the positives. The positive is no matter what happens off the pitch, look at what Unai Emery has done on the pitch. So we'll bring somebody in, no doubt, to look after negotiations. But what Unai Emery has done on the pitch will never be replicated off the pitch, no matter how much you're saving or how much is saved by certain transfers. What's been done on the pitch with a bunch of players who should be having Chelsea come and wiping the floor with them.
Yeah,
we're in the position that we are. So this kind of stuff doesn't really float my boat. It doesn't really annoy me, put me up or down. Our next subject probably will.
Yeah, and just to finish on this as well, I think it's kind of, as I say, it's important to say that the guy is highly sought after amongst the world of football. He's well entitled to change his mind as well, considering he's still in contract. Hey, but what there's a lot of cloud here, and there's a lot of doom that's going around about this not happening. And I suppose when we think about it, it's both. Well, I won't say both sides. Unai Emery game checked him in a press conference. That leads me to believe it was pretty far down the line with regards to conversations with this guy. You can say maybe that he used the word if, all that kind of stuff. That's fine. If Unai Emery is confident in talking about him and considering that this is considering an Unai Emery man, look, you guys can make your own opinion. You have your own opinions. That my opinion is that it was pretty far down the line with regards to this. Also, I don't think anyone has if we're talking about the financials once again, Paddy, with regards to this, if we were to have given him a package that was 4 times larger than Barcelona's, and then all of a sudden, he does this U-turn. There's just a couple of details from the Spanish side of things that don't fully tally up correctly with me.
Yeah.
Okay, from that point.
I reckon there's been a lot of non-stories around this that it just
I think so. Yeah.
Gathered legs, and a lot of people have published it and spoken about it. So It's probably something that will
And-
never be reported correctly, so we'll never know.
And I think we may very well sign another director of football. Another director of football may come in, but it's important to realise that we're 13 days away from the start of we're 13 days away from realistically, I suppose, when things would crack back into action again from a transfer window point of view. We're well underway with our plans, regardless of whether this guy came in or not. So, from my point of view, as I say, would have loved to have him in here. Master negotiator, it seems, really, really good guy, tight with the purse strings from the point of view of being able to get money, make money from dealings, but he never actually wore that Villa tie, So it seems like we just missed the balloon, and that's okay too. Next guy who comes in, we'll see who that is, and we will obviously discuss him as well. Paddy, on to Ivan Toney, because as we heard today as well, Ivan Toney has been given an 8-month ban from football. Conveniently enough, 2 games before the end of the season, and we're going to go down through a bit of a timeline of events as well, because I just find it baffling that this couldn't have been that there's multiple different ways this could have been handled, considering he admitted to guilt at a certain time. So let's go down through the timeline first, Paddy, and then I'll let you spring into life with regards to this. So, Ivan Toney was found to have been in breach of betting laws, up to 200 and whatever they were, 230 something of them. He pleaded guilty on the 1st of March. To said Joachim Bobby. So on the 1st of March, he pleaded guilty to those breaches of the Football Association gambling rules. Aston Villa then went on to play Brighton on the 22nd of April, as we well know. Brentford, the 22nd of April, as we well know. And Ivan Toney scored. Okay, that goal, meaning that we would draw that game. Now, Ivan Toney gets banned then 2 games out from the end of the season. And we're now, and look, this is an awful, like there's a lot of stretch in this, so don't get me wrong. I'll bring it into context in a moment, considering they've won all 3 games that Toney hasn't started. They blitzed West Ham, but they're playing our direct rivals this weekend. And I think it's fair for us to question why that is the situation. Why has he been banned now? And create a gulf of fairness, considering he pleaded guilty on the 1st of March. Why not ban him on the 1st of March or the 2nd of March? If you plead guilty to it, he could be stood down on gardening leave, and then whenever his ban comes down, it could be backdated to the 2nd of March, and then he could work forward from there. That would be the smart thing to do. Under investigation, ban straight away, plead guilty, ban straight away, boom. Why it happens now to me is just the FA have put themselves in a situation whereby it's just silly and it's stupid, and there should be someone up there who should have just kind of said, listen, for the sake of a week and a half, for the sake of 2 weeks, this guy, we stand him, it creates a false dichotomy, I suppose, with regards to the league. And look, I know I'm clutching at straws with regards to it, but it's a fair point, I think, to make, Paddy, isn't it?
Well, I think of all the things that have gone on this week, this has annoyed me the most, and for the simple reason that they play Spurs on Saturday after him scoring against us, as you've already said, as you've a habit of doing, Neil's getting in there before me. And look, we spoke again today. Yes, I agree. If you have been told on the 1st of March, yes, I did do that. Cut it then. That's it. Now we will go in and like you have to understand that in a week where we have watched Howard Webb come out and take great pride in telling us how VAR works, and then just talk about how great it was for the Big Six, and then have one little snippet at the end where a mistake was made. I am, when it comes to football, the greatest conspiracy theorist. I really get annoyed when I look at this stuff because, as you say, he's got to play Spurs at the weekend. He's got to play against the England captain. He's an England international. He's going to serve. I starred one of the messages there. Where are we? From Everything Villa. 8-month ban at this point of the season is an absolute joke. Nearly half of it been served in the off season.
Yep.
So you serve half of it in the off season. The bit you don't serve after pleading guilty, you score a goal against Aston Villa. We draw
He can start training on something like the 17th of September again with the club.
It's a joke.
So he can train for 4 months to hit the ground running and be bang up to fitness again in January. Then when he comes back, look, I go for it. Sorry, Paddy, I could have.
No, but it's just farcical. It's just farcical for the same reason. Howard Webb sat there the other night and went, the row between Jurgen Klopp and the referees is still ongoing. Why is it still ongoing? Why have they not released? They went at pains to tell us about all these jargon that they use in VAR, but yes, why didn't they just show us the video of what was supposed to be said between Paul Tierney and Jurgen Klopp? I'll tell you why. Because it's overprotection of the Big Six. It always will be. Ivan Toney is an England international, and he's been overprotected, and he got to nearly the end of the season. They got 3 months with no football where he will just sit in his arse, go on holidays, and he should have been suspended the minute he pleaded guilty. They've absolutely made a joke of the whole thing. It's really annoyed me. It's really upset me today. That coupled with the fact that we're looking at Manchester City with over 100. They told us that it was over 100 offences.
15, yeah.
And yes, they are still playing football. They are still playing with no limitations. They're in a Champions League final. It's a joke.
Yeah, I just to play devil's advocate, I suppose, on the Ivan Toney thing, and there is a very good point here. I can't find it, but somebody says even if you plead guilty in a court of law, the trial still does go on. That is true. Sometimes you can be remanded in custody though while that trial goes on, and your sentence is backdated afterwards. I suppose that's where we're coming from. And look, it's only from really the fact that this guy had 230 something. It's not like he made a genuine mistake at any stage. And yes, they may not have been betting on himself. Do I believe that I don't believe anyone should get away with 232 offences of it. Absolutely not. And the second you bet on a game or a game within the same league as that you play in, I feel that you should. Like it taints it for everybody. It taints it for every single person. At the time that Matt Letizia said that he used to kick the ball out for a throw from the kickoff to win a few pounds on first throw. The first throw in within the first minute, or he tried to do it and he missed or something like that. There was some anecdote he had or something along those lines. Like that's disrepute, I think, in my book. For somebody who's got 230 something of them, I think is disrepute in my book as well. I just feel that it's like the black eye here is the fact that they've decided an arbitrary day on the 17th of May when the competition is still active and he's been an active participant in it. As somebody mentioned there as well, scoring 34% of Brighton's goals. Brentford's goals. I keep on saying Brighton's goals. But Brentford's goals. Look, as I say, we are crying over spilt milk. I think I think we're
no, we're not crying over spilt milk. We're calling out the FA for
that's what I was saying.
And let's be honest, England are going to qualify for the next tournament. It doesn't matter where they have Ivan Toney or not for the next few games. And it's a load of shit. It's an absolute pile of shit. And the last week has just left me with a bad taste in my mouth. Look at Howard Webb. Give me a break, man. Give me a break. It was absolutely cringeworthy. I don't listen to Talk Sports because it absolutely boils my shit. And I listened to it yesterday and he absolutely wound me up. And his mate Jim White blowing smoke up his arse. What a load of shit. We all know, I'm under no illusion now that unless you can push yourself into the greedy six, you are getting nothing off this FA. Absolutely nothing. Unless you've got a potential England striker or the best centre half in England playing in your team and they're overprotected like Ivan Toney was, because that's the way it feels for me.
Yeah. And just for anybody who's listed, I should have told you beforehand, we were probably going to swear on this podcast, just in case you had any little ears, because recently we've gotten a few messages going, oh guys, could you tone back the old swearing a small bit? And do apologize, but this is going out at 10 o'clock at night. But if you are listening back in the car, sorry, the damage has been done. We will try small.
I think anyone at this stage that's listening back in the car, there's a realization there that if they're driving with their kids, they probably shouldn't put it on.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, we do try. We do want to try, but sometimes the conversation
as he says, moving the buggy of his newborn baby.
Yes, yeah, my newborn baby. Good thing I got the headphones on here. Good thing I got the headphones on here. But no, listen, look, it's been a newsworthy kind of day. I think there's a couple of things there I just wanted to get. There's a couple of things I just wanted to kind of talk about, I suppose, really, and I suppose discuss them from my point of view. And I wanted to get your point of view, and specifically the Ivan Toney piece as well, Paddy. But look, I think all in all, the positives for Aston Villa today are from the marketing side of things. Look, I think there's more going to be written on the director of football thing over the next couple of days and weeks, specifically from maybe an incoming, maybe they go back to Antonio Cardin, maybe they've got somebody else in mind, maybe they don't go with anyone. You know, I've seen multitude different reasons as to why Alemany didn't want to come here. Apparently, he didn't want to have to share the limelight with Johan Lange. Doesn't ring true with me, considering Lange is really a scouting and identification guy, whereas Alemany is more of a negotiation guy. That one doesn't really ring true with me either. There was also other things that he just didn't want to move to Birmingham. Doesn't really ring true with me either. He could sit in a lovely office in Barcelona and do his negotiations and fly back and forth once a week. There's a lot of smoke. That I think it's just a simple case that Jordi Cruyff went, Barcelona board made another play for him. He did a U-turn and that was it. And I think that's really it. I don't think there's any massive panic button being pressed by Aston Villa to get Chris Heck here or anything like that. I think it was always good. The Chris Heck was always going to happen. And Alemany just decided he hadn't signed the contract yet. And he said, hey, the grass here is absolutely fine. I don't know why I was leaving in the first place. Let's stay here for another while and see what happens. But look, as I said, that's football. That's the way it goes. That's the way sport goes. That's the way business goes. Yeah. So
you shouldn't though.
No, he shouldn't. Exactly. He should come here and he should.
It should be a level playing field for everybody, and not that we're going to change anybody's opinion, but hopefully people will agree with us in the comments afterwards. But it's a hard one to take. It's a hard one to look at what happened to Ivan Toney today. It's hard to look at Man City, and look, I'm going to talk out of both sides of my mouth, because my father was at that game tonight cheering for Man City, and I find it really hard for an elderly man who went to that game tonight with my sister to cheer against them. And I did. I wanted Real, and I fucking hate Real Madrid. I'm a Barcelona fan, so I hate Real Madrid. So, look, it is what it is. Cheats get to the top. Maybe we've got to cheat. Maybe we've got to blow fair play out of the water and let them try.
I think we're going to test it, Paddy. I think we're going to test it. You know,
why not? Why not? Nobody's getting punished for it. So maybe now is the time.
Yeah, maybe now is the time. And now is not the time to discuss it any further. I know I would absolutely have to go into it, but 4% battery and a grumbling child beside me here dictates when I have to end the podcast. So thanks very much, everybody, for your time. I'm going to crack back into some transfer related stuff tomorrow. There's been a couple of players linked that I haven't really spoken about. If you are a fan of Manuel Ugarte and if you are a fan of Gio Lascelles, so I'm just going to do a couple of things and then release them I'll release one of them tomorrow, one of them on Friday, and myself and Paddy will be back with a Spurs preview. Jesus, where's my head at the moment? With a Liverpool preview tomorrow. Yeah, and we'll be back with.
And a big announcement tomorrow.
Big announcement. We're going to have Matthew Alemany. We're going to have Matthew Alemany on the podcast to tell us why. Big announcement. Tune in tomorrow night at 9:30. If you are that way inclined to big announcements. Brilliant. Thanks very much, everybody. 3% battery, 2% child here beside me. So I'm going to go. Thanks a million. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy, and all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.
Where's my... Up the Villa.